Comet, The Cult of Steel, Chapter 1, The Foal That Fell from the Stars.
Hurry up, I don't want to miss the big meteor shower.
Applejack called out from the loft of the house. Tonight was the night that astronomers had predicted a major meteor shower, and the citizens of Ponyville had gathered on rooftops and hillsides with telescopes and hoof to witness the magnificent sight. "Now hold your horses, Sugar Cube," a gruff but gentle voice replied. "We're coming, but remember, your mother's caring for two right now." One by one, the rest of the family came up the stairs. The first was a beautiful young mare with a light orange coat and poofy orange mane. She had the mark of a jar of pear butter on her flank, hence her name, and her distended barrel made it clear that she was with a foal. Right behind her was a middle-aged green mare with a cutie mark of an apple pie on her flank. Though her face showed several wrinkles, she still trotted with a firm step, as if to show that she still had some strength in her aging bones. Next came a young colt with a red coat and a cutie mark of a green apple carrying a picnic basket in his teeth. The last to come up was a mammoth yellow stallion with a cutie mark of a great green apple with a golden star. He stood taller than most stallions, sitting down, and could carry a full-grown apple tree over his shoulder during planting season. Every pony whom ever met him described Bright Mac as a quiet, gentle giant who worked hard to provide for his family. Like every other colt and filly in town, Applejack had been waiting all week for the big meteor shower. It was a pretty big deal in Ponyville. In ancient times, ponies saw falling stars as a sign of great change and would leave offerings in front of their homes in hopes of bringing themselves good fortune. However, since the banishment of Princess Luna, the festival has fallen out of favor as time wore on.
Is everything ready, Applejack?
Pear Butter asked, slowly sitting down.
You betcha.
Applejack replied, trotting over to her mother.
I have been waiting all week for this.
"Alrighty, just settle down, AJ. Everyone's here," Bright Mac said, sitting down next to his wife.
It's starting!
Applejack cried as the first comet shot across the sky. The sky lit up in a dazzling display of comet tails streaking over the tiny town.
Look, Ma, Pa!
Applejack pointed as one of the comets turned inward towards the farm.
One of them looks like it's breaking away from the rest.
"One of them comets?" Bright Mac chuckled at his daughter's statements. "That's not possible, Sugar Cube. Comets just don't change course on a bit unless—"
"Sweet Celestia's heading straight for the orchard!"
he cried out as he spotted the comet plunging headlong towards the farm until it crashed into the distant tree line. For the next few moments, the house was dead quiet. No pony making a sound. After a minute passed, Applejack broke the silence.
Wow,
she whispered.
That was amazing! I never thought I'd see a shooting star land in our backyard!
She cried with excitement as she raced down the stairs.
Come on, Everpony, let's go check it out! Applejack, wait!
Pear Butter called out as she followed after her daughter.
Now hold your horses, little lady,
Sweet Peach said as she finally caught the little filly by her tail.
Now just, where do you think you're going? Oh, but I want to go see the shooting star.
Applejack pouted as her mother set her down.
The only place you're going, little filly, is straight to bed. It's much too dangerous for you to go out there. But, no buts, young lady,
Pear Butter said with a stern look on her face.
Granny will be putting you young'uns to bed while your father and I go check things out. But that's not fair!
Applejack pouted and crossed her arms.
Why do grown-ups get to have all the fun? You're already staying up past your usual bedtime and you ain't got no school in the morning. Sounds pretty fair to me.
Pear Butter answered her daughter.
I promise if you and your brother behave yourselves, you can both have a look at whatever it is in the morning.
Applejack sighed and stood.
Alright, but you better keep your promise. I always do, Sugar Cube. Now y'all head on back upstairs. I'm sure Granny will be happy to read a story for you.
With that, Applejack galloped up the stairs like a filly on Hearth's warming day in reverse.
Big brother! Mom says we can all have a look at the shooting star tomorrow!
Whoa there, easy, Pumpkin, Bright Mac said as his daughter rushed past him. Slow down there, Applejack. Applejack kept on running, nearly bumping into a table as she turned the corner to her room. leaving her poor old pa scratching his head, for the matter of fact.
That fella don't know her own stamina.
He sighed and turned to his wife.
I found the lantern upstairs.
The farm was eerily calm as Bright Mac and Pear Butter stepped outside, falling stars illuminating the sky as they went to see what had landed in the orchard.
I think I saw it land somewhere around here,
Bright Mac said to his wife as they searched the orchard for the falling star.
No offense, but that's like searching for a needle in a haystack,
Pear Butter exclaimed as she carried the worn brass lantern in her hoof.
Do you even know what a falling star looks like when it stops falling?
Bright Mac shrugged his shoulders.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to know when we see it. I'd imagine it'd be pretty hard to miss. Well, what if the orchard's caught on fire?
Pear Butter exclaimed.
We can't afford to lose any trees this close to the harvest. I think we would have seen smoke or smelled something burning by now, if that were the case,
Bright Mac reassured his wife.
Whatever it was, it probably kicked up a bunch of soil when it impacted, smothered the flames. Anyway, it's getting late. I say we search for 15 more minutes before we turn in. What's that sound?
Bright Mac looked at his wife.
Did y'all just hear that screaming?
He asked her.
Yeah, I think it's coming over by the Jupiters,
Pear Butter answered.
It almost sounds like a foal or something,
Bright Mac said.
But who in Equestria would leave a foal out here at this hour? Oh no!
Pear Butter cried, her maternal instincts kicking into high gear.
Hold on, the sweet baby, I'm coming!
She dashed as fast as she could, closer and closer to the sound of the crying, with her husband hot on her hooves. Despite her being 8 months pregnant, Sweet Peach kept on running. By now, the cry wailing through the night was unmistakable. They were almost there.
Princess Celestia's mane.
Sweet Peach gasped in shock as they finally reached the source of the sound. Sitting there in a trench of uprooted earth was a sleek arrowhead-shaped craft with rocket engines and fins. A large hatch door lay open, giving them a clear view inside of the ship. Lying inside, wrapped in a red blanket adorned with a symbol of a golden comet and a pendant wrapped around his neck, was a tiny white colt with a silver tuft of hair, bawling his little lungs out.
Oh, my sweet land,
Pear Butter cried out. Ignoring the searing heat, she put the lantern down and rushed in, scooping the infant up in her hooves.
Shh, it's okay now, little one. It's okay, you're safe. You're safe now.
The softness of her voice seemed to soothe the child as he slowly began to cease crying and look up at her.
Where in tarnation did you suppose he was doing in there?
Bright Mac asked as he looked over the craft that had landed on his farm.
It doesn't matter why he was in there,
Pear Butter answered.
What matters is that he's safe now.
She nuzzled the top of his head with a snout and smiled softly.
Well, I think it does matter. If some pony put him in there, then he's obviously some pony else's foal.
Bright Mac looked over the interior of the cabin.
I'm sure there's something in here that'll explain all of this. A note, or a photo, or something.
The cockpit was mostly taken up by the seat. There wasn't any instrument panels or controls of any sort, leaving Bright Mac scratching his head on how the darn thing was supposed to fly.
Well, he's wearing a pendant of some sort,
Pear Butter said as she carefully examined it in her hoof. It was a silver diamond shield emblazoned with a comet soaring through the stars.
Does it say anything about him? No, it doesn't. Just an image of a shooting star.
What, a shooting star? Bright Mac's hoof found a switch that opened a hidden compartment. Inside was a long clear crystal covered in symbols that glowed with a strange light.
What in tarnation?
Bright Mac muttered as he removed the crystal from its compartment.
Did you find anything? Something?
Pear Butter leaned in to get a closer look at Bright Mac turning and showing her the crystal that he was holding with his hoof.
I don't know,
he said.
It was inside whatever this thing is, a secret compartment of some kind. All I know is that it feels strange when I hold it. Well, if you don't know what it is, then put it back.
Pear Butter replied as she turned her attention back to the foal in her hooves. By now, he was content to yawn and rest his head in her arms. Bright Mac bent down carefully as he could slide the crystal back into its slot in the compartment.
Ow, ow!
He cried as he bumped his head, pulling it back out.
Are you okay, dear?
Pear Butter asked, concerned.
I'm fine, just conked my head is all.
Bright Mac grumbled as he closed the door to the crafts, all the while rubbing the sore spot on his head. Pear Butter giggled a little at her husband's clumsiness.
It's alright, dear. I'll go grab you an ice pack from the fridge, and I'll put this little one to bed. Fair enough, I suppose. I can pull this out of the ground tomorrow after we drop him off at the orphanage.
Bright Mac grumbled as he started to walk back to the house.
Actually, dear,
Pear Butter said.
I've been thinking.
Bright Mac sighed, knowing what was to come next. Pear Butter loved children. Heck, the day she learned that she was pregnant with Big Mac, that had been one of the happiest moments of her life. And now, with a third on the way, he'd learn how to tell when she was thinking about having more.
Oh, no, Pear... Look, I love them with all my heart, and I love our children with all of my heart, too.
The words hurt for him to say, but he knew that if he didn't really put his hoof down, he'd never really get another chance.
But we can't afford another child right now. You already are 8 months with our third. We ain't got no more room right now. He's got nowhere else to go, Mac. Look at him. Look at those eyes and tell me you can't say no to that face,
she said, holding the sleepy-eyed foal in front of him. She had resorted to fighting dirty.
Look, I know what you're trying to do, Pear, but my mind's made up. We're dropping him off at the orphanage first thing tomorrow. So, what? We're just gonna drop on the doorstep and leave him to spend most of his foalhood without a loving family?
At the flip of a switch, Pear Butter's tone changed from a loving mother to a protective hen.
It's a good establishment,
Big Mac protested.
I'm sure they'll find a home for him in no time.
Bright Mac saw tears beginning to form in Pear Butter's eyes.
Oh, Pear, please, don't stop bawling. I'm saying, please. What? I don't want to drop him off in no orphanage like some bad apple out of a bucket.
Pear Butter's words were choked with tears. She cradled the foal tightly in her hooves as if fearing Bright Mac would take him away from her.
Bright Mac, I swear on my dear old father's grave, if you send this child to an orphanage, I'll divorce you and move back to Vancouver with the kids, and y'all will never see us again.
A fire burned through her, streams of tears pouring from her eyes. Bright Mac took a deep breath.
Alright, just calm down now. There's no need to get all worked up. We'll talk to the rest of the family tomorrow and see how Everpona feels about it.
Pear Butter let out a sniffle as she wiped the tears from her eyes.
Oh, Mac, you wonderful stallion!
She exclaimed as she planted a kiss right on his lips.
You make me so happy, you big old stud, you.
Bright Mac could only shrug his shoulders and yawn. This was just too much to deal with this late at night.
I love you too, dear, but can we just go to bed now? Shooting stars and rambunctious youngins, I can handle, but foals coming from fallen stars is just much to deal with in the middle of the night.